Hello, I'm Stephanie Kenny, and I'm currently president of California Heritage Quilt Project, which is a statewide organization that's responsible and has overall responsibility for the Oral History Project. Today we are doing the final verification and organization of 650 oral interviews that were taken over about a 15-year period, 10 to 15-year period of quilters all over the state. It, we believe, is the largest collection of quilters in quilt interviews and memorabilia in the United States.
Agnes Jeffney, and
Beautiful.
we were looking at the borders of this quilt. Did you look at it? At first I thought it was rickrack, but I don't believe it is.
Wow. That's incredible. Where is she from? Escondido.
She's from Escondido. That's why. Her maiden name is Oldbrook.
Born in Wisconsin in 1935.
Her mother was a homemaker. Her father was a cement finisher by trade. And her mother was very talented, handy with her hands.
Two copies of this. There is an original copy that includes a transcript of these interviews. The interviews, let me back up. The interviews were done all over the state in batches of about 30, and women were identified through the quilt guilds as to having stories that they would like to share. Today we are prepping these packets. The original to be its final place will be at the University of Nebraska at Lincoln at the International Quilt Study Center of Histories, and it's going to the Bancroft Library at the University of California at Berkeley. They have an oral history center, so this will join a network, the Oral History Center, that is also all over the world. It's connected to the UC system and oral history projects all over the world.
Hello. We are here as a part of the California Heritage Quilt Project,
Yeah, because I called.
which has been in existence a number of years, but they were the people that developed the sesquicentennial quilt. And also California Heritage Quilt Project did oral interviews of women throughout California about their life, not only quilting, but what led up to it, what was their life like as they were growing up. These were done throughout the state of California, and various people interviewed various groups, and we had set up here in Sacramento a group that was led by Janet Van Wert, who put it all together and had 3 days of oral interviews. People from her field served as receiving the individuals, interviewing the individuals, meaning there are different people interviewing the various artists that we are talking to. And quilting began, of course, as something that the housewives did at home, some of it from necessity, some of it from filling a void for loving color and art, not having any other way to express it. probably was at its height during the Depression, during the 1930s. At least that was the case in my family and some other families that I know. It fell out of, not favor, but I think women's role changed later on. They were in the workplace. There was a war going on in some instances. Things were different. When quilting finally came back, if you will, it grew by leaps and bounds because it seemed to fill a void that women felt in their life for being creative, because many of them were working in the workplace and raising families, and they didn't have a lot of time to fill that void that they felt they needed. And then there were groups that came together, like the California Heritage Quilt Project, made up of quilters, amateurs, if you will, and they started out by producing a book, which is very, very well known, although it's out of print. And then from there, the sesquicentennial quilt came about, which we had nothing to do with other than we were asked as a group, because we were a group throughout the state of California rather than it being divided north and south.
How did you start quilting?
At my mother's knee.
Oh, very young then.
Yes, we had two poles, if you will, that the quilt was rolled on. They were all quilt-sized quilts, not small ones like we do today. And that's all that I remember having on the beds in my home until I was a teenager. It was just part of what women did. I come from the Midwest, and it may have been more prevalent there, I don't know. But it seemed to have spread throughout the United States, so I'm not sure that was the case.
My name is Diana Cheryl Land, is my maiden name, L-A-N-D, and my married name is Muenzler, M-U-E-N-Z-L-E-R. And I've actually been quilting since about the late 90s, although I've loved quilting for many, many years and went to quilt shows and did a few things in the early 80s. Originally I started quilting more traditional type of quilts, and as time went on I became very interested in the artistic quilts and took a lot of art quilt classes where I could learn to do some different techniques and things of that nature. So those are the kind of things that I really like to do.
My name is Judy Scully. I've been quilting for about 40 years. Yeah, it's a long time. Got into quilting because I was invited to a baby shower, and it was for a second child. I had no idea you gave presents to people who had second children because they had everything that they needed. So, looking through magazines I'd always sewn, I found a baby quilt, and I thought, oh, I can do that. And I did, and I did everything wrong, but that's okay. I learned. Started taking classes at Legacy Quilts at Town and Country Village, and had a blast and became addicted and joined River City Quilters Guild and have been quilting ever since.
My name is Pat Gossett, and I belong to two quilt guilds. And when I've gone to market, it's been with Laurel Anderson. And it's really interesting because you get to see all the new things, and you get to see and buy all new things, and freebies too, and quilt show.
How long have you been quilting?
About 6 to 8 years.
You have grandchildren that enjoy watching your quilting progress, don't you?
Well, they like to play on the wall that I have, and I have scraps that they put up on the design wall.
Oh, so you're teaching them to be artistic.
Do whatever they want.
Yeah.
Keep them out of my hair, not out of the sewing machine. Sewing machine will be next, but we have to wait a few more years.
A few.
My name is Valerie Wong, and I've been a member of the River City Quilt Guild probably for about 25 years. I think, I don't know, I've been going to meetings for a long time with Winnie. And, but I've recently joined another quilt guild, the Golden Valley Quilt Guild. And so I just enjoy meeting people and seeing different quilts and presentations. I do very basic, simple quilts, and it's fun to be able to put everything together in your own way.
I'm Jamie Watson. I've loved quilts for many, many years. And I started out, when I started out doing it, I was living in Arizona, up in Sedona. This was probably in 1962. I saw a picture in a magazine and I thought I want to do that quilt for my very new baby niece. So I drove all the way to Phoenix to a fabric shop and probably bought cotton because they hadn't invented polyester yet, and made the quilt, and that hooked me from then on. I'm not very creative. I have to see a picture and then I'll make it. I can't see a picture in my head and then make it. So I'll sit and look at a picture and I'll figure out the sizes and everything, and I'm pretty good at math and I can do that. But I'm not a creative person from out of my head, just my hands.
Never have guessed that.
I'm Mary Wilkinson. I've been quilting since probably the mid-70s when, although I started a quilt as a child, I still have the pieces that aren't put together yet. Can't bear to throw them away because they remind me of clothes, dresses that I had.
Winnie Fung. I'm a graduate home economic person. After I retired from teaching, I went back into quilting and had a small stash of fabric and was just going to finish that and not buy any fabric. But now I have a stash and I work from my stash, and I enjoy foundation quilting probably the most, and I don't do a lot of high, low, medium values. I mostly stay within a medium value. I don't conceive the idea before I start. I just kind of work it through
As you go.
as I go.
I'm Shirley Duncan. Well, I probably started somewhere in the 70s, I would think. I'm not for sure. I made a wedding quilt for a babysitter.
My name is Janet Van Wert. I've been quilting, I would say, since the late 80s. And I helped set up this, what would I call it, a gig? Anyway, I helped set it up and used Shirley Duncan's church. And I found that we used some of our homes, too, in the Sacramento area. I even traveled down to Los Angeles to see how they were handling their interviews, and that was very rewarding because I found out I thought we were doing ours just as well, if not better. And our quilters were marvelous. It brought so many of us together because we got to know some of these older quilters. At that time, I wasn't in the older group, and they really are very special because a lot of them have gone on to quilt up in heaven. Stories like, I think I might have mentioned the lady that was selling her quilts on the side of the road during the Depression, and they were getting them for $12.50, and that was a lot of money. Remember the Depression? It was right outside of Auburn. It was very special for them too, I didn't, it hadn't dawned on me that these women had such beautiful stories and were eager to share it. we say to people, hi, how you doing? Beautiful quilt, and then we go on our way. And sometimes the story behind the quilt is even more important.
I'm Nancy Elliott McDonald. I've been quilting since 1987, which is what? A long time. Probably made upward of 500 quilts. I've been a teacher, a lecturer. I wrote a book called Winding Ways Quilts. My specialty was curved seam piecing by machine. And I'm still at it, but I'm retired from teaching and lecturing.
My name is Cook. I started quilting about 15 years ago. I learned to sew from my mom as a child. She was a seamstress that taught us to sew and also taught in 4-H. Traditional is really my favorite quilting. I'm pretty much a traditional quilter. And I've sort of veered off and do a lot of other sewing on the side. I make footstools out of men's ties and various other fabrics, aprons, all sorts of things I like to craft. So I quilt and I sew. I am the 2016 president of River City Quilters Guild.
My name's Dixie McBride. I have been quilting since the about 1975. And I started out applique, then began piecing quilts and returned to applique. And I've made a fair amount of quilts. They're all mostly detailed, so I don't get them done overnight. And I now teach. I've been teaching since nationally, teaching since 1984, locally, nationally since 1988. And I enjoy it very much.
As asked to represent the lush northern forests of California, Dixie found inspiration in the giant redwoods. It was impossible to include a multitude of lifestyles in this region of California. The best I could do was to represent the people in the form of the little houses and villages that are tucked away into the hills and valleys all through this area. My intent was to represent and honor all those who live, work, and play here, past, present, and future, unquote.
That's awesome.
So I bet you didn't know that you said that, but you did.
My name's Joanna Schwilk. I've been quilting since 1968 or 69. I started in San Jose because I had a great-grandmother who did 2 quilts, a grandmother's flower garden and a yo-yo quilt. And I used to love to touch them, but she would not let me sit on them. And then I inherited a sunbonnet suit top from my mother's great aunt. So I took quilting lessons for $2 an hour from a woman named Emma Dahl in San Jose, who helped organize the State Fair quilt exhibit at that time. And she was very thorough, very wonderful. And when I moved back to New Hampshire, quilting had been going on there for some time, but quilt groups were just starting. And I got into a group in New Hampshire, and a woman named Mildred Hoyt did some organizing. So we did a quilt show in a church with the quilts on pews, and I thought it was the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen. So when I came back and moved to Sacramento, there weren't any quilt guilds, but there were some people who said they would teach quilting. And so I started with taking a class from Lois Christopher and another one from Emma Alabies. And then quilting started taking off because of, I can't think of her last name, Jenny Byer, yes, gave a class in San Jose that I went to, and she had just finished her prize-winning. So,
Hello, I'm Laurel Anderson, and I've been quilting for almost 20 years. I started quilting to help out the local Richmond Rescue Mission. They didn't necessarily want pretty quilts, they just wanted warm quilts, and I packed up my sewing machine and helped them out, and It's been wonderful ever since. I quilt for therapy. When life is stressful, the sewing machine can just help dissolve that stress. And I'm a creative, so I usually invent all of my own patterns, which has brought me to selling patterns and teaching quilting and going to quilt market and having booths and selling to industry professionals. And it's opened up a very wonderful world to me.
Miners, up there, the gold rush miners, actually the one in, they are mining, there's little nuggets of gold actually that are, you know, in the applique that they've done.
It is a unique drawing too, on fabric.
As is, did Zena do the Capitol? I can't
No.
remember. Sue's got the book.
No.
It's in the
in
book.
my hand.
I can't remember it. Maybe, I don't know anymore.
But it was.
What am I supposed to be
looking
for? And Lake Tahoe is, it's a photo transfer, yeah. Is that right? Photo transfer? Yeah.
Do you notice the white mouse below the Capitol?
Yes.
Those kids picked up on that a long time ago when the mouse wasn't as well known as it is now. You can imagine when the quilt
Silicon
came out,
Valley, yeah.
the mouse was something that was not in everyone's vocabulary.
And the apple.
It's Rachel Kenny. I am the daughter of Stephanie Kenny, who has been in charge of this for many, many decades at this point. I was involved as a child only because it was something that Mom did. So I've grown up with the quilt being a part of what our family has been involved with.